Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North, our top story tonight. A new report warns that thousands of 4 and 5-year-olds are not ready to start school.
Struggling often with their social and emotional development and aspects of their physical development, but that's very much linked to the challenges that the families are facing as well.
We speak to teachers at a nursery in Sheffield. Also tonight, residents in a coastal community fear they could be cut off after a landslip closes the main road to their homes. Doing her dad proud, a grieving daughter vows to finish her late father's charity cycle challenge. And as it Fish Friday in your house, we meet the young cooks from York who've made it to the fish frying finals of a national competition.
And it's been a nice end to the week weather-wise. The pleasant weather continues into some of the weekend. I'll be back with all the details at the end of the programme.
Hello there, it's lovely to have your company on this Friday evening. Thousands of 4 and 5-year-olds are not ready to start school. That's the warning from a new report from the Child of the North Group and the Centre for Young Lives. It says that some children are coming into reception class still wearing nappies, and many have poor speech and language skills. The report found that a third of children haven't reached a good level of development in areas like communication and behaviour, and those in Yorkshire are among the least likely to be school ready in the country. It also found that boys here are less likely than girls to be ready to start school, with just 59% of boys having a good level of development compared to 74% of girls. More children are struggling with development since COVID, and the report found that poverty is a major factor. They say children from disadvantaged areas are more likely to enter education with poor language skills, which in turn can affect educational achievement and limit career opportunities. Tom Ingle reports.
End of the week at St Catherine's Catholic Primary School in Sheffield. This classroom usually bustles with young children, but they're of the COVID generation.
So we notice children finding it trickier to listen, pay attention, to focus, to manage their relationships with members of staff. Children are not accessing play and talking to each other and able to join in with back and forth interactions. They're going to struggle with listening to maths and science and all those other subjects later on.
Wow, beautiful! Oh, that looks really good. It looks
a stone's throw away, Meadows Nursery, where of course the children are even younger. The community facility here has revived a former Sure Start centre, a scheme that used to be at the heart of early years provision.
Many of our families are living in poverty. They're facing challenges around putting enough food on the table, being able to heat the houses, having housing that's not suitable. So families are coming with a whole range of challenges, and that's impacting on the whole family.
Whatever the cause, the consequences are clear. One of the report's authors wants families and young children to be supported by wraparound services.
So if we can get things right in these early years, then they can go on to thrive. But actually our parents and carers need lots of support to do that.
So the impact of those early years, if they're not done right, can be quite profound later on.
If children aren't going into school ready to start their learning, it takes them longer. That then impacts on their educational journey. And if we're thinking about economic terms, if they're not progressing through their education, they're less likely to go into employment, to generate kind of the economic prosperity that we want.
But the chair of the Commission on Young Lives warns help is not always available.
In disadvantaged areas, a particular shortage of places, with an estimated 3 children for every place available. It's what Labour have called childcare deserts. So that means the children who absolutely need this early year support the most have been least likely to get it.
What noise does a lion make?
Our lives have been changed by the pandemic, and changes in society present the young with challenges. Back at St Catherine's, they now have regular workshops for new parents whose children are just starting school, so as better to prepare everyone in the family for a life of learning. Tom Ingle, BBC Look North, Sheffield.
Next tonight, Kim Leadbeater says changes to the law on assisted dying would be about ending people's deaths rather than ending their lives. The Spen Valley MP says at the moment people who want to end their own life have three choices, in her words: suffering, Switzerland or suicide. She wants to bring a bill to Parliament later this month that will give MPs a chance to vote on assisted dying. The last time they had a vote was 2015, when Kim's sister Jo Cox voted for people to be able to end their own lives. Our political reporter Gemma Dillon reports.
Pauline's husband Ian was diagnosed with MND in 2021, and she says his condition progressed quickly.
Life became really intolerable. He couldn't walk. He lost his speech completely. He had terrible problems swallowing, so eating and drinking was really difficult. He had breathing problems. He didn't feel he had any quality of life. He just wanted it all to stop. He wanted a way out. And then in June 2022, he tried to take his own life. Ian felt that, the law had failed him.
Last year, he was admitted to a hospice where he refused food and drink.
The hospice agreed that he could be admitted to die there. And that's crucially important because it meant that he had pain relief and sedation readily available.
The debate over assisted dying has been ongoing for decades. Time and time again, the courts ruled that the decision about allowing assisted dying shouldn't be made in the courtroom, but rather in Parliament. 2015 was the last time a bill to introduce assisted dying was debated in the Commons, but it was defeated.
I do think the mood has changed. I think the mood has changed publicly, and I think it probably has changed within Parliament. So I have spoken to quite a lot of the new intake of MPs, and they think the time is right to have this debate. They are nervous in some respects, as am I, because it's such an important issue and it's such an emotive issue. But I think the consensus is that the time is right to have that debate and discussion.
Opponents of the proposal raise concerns that some terminally ill people could feel under pressure to end their lives.
Many vulnerable people, disabled people, elderly people, people with depression will find that their lives will be ended, or that they'll be encouraged to end their lives, and for fear of being a burden on their family or the NHS. And that's the real danger of this, actually, that this just becomes the cheap alternative to properly funding palliative care or properly funding the NHS, and that then people are driven to consider assisted suicide or euthanasia because they can't get the treatment that they actually deserve and have a right to.
The bill could be presented to Parliament later this month, meaning there could be a vote before Christmas. Gemma Dillon, BBC Look North.
If someone you know has been affected by the issues raised in tonight's report, you can contact the BBC Action Line via bbc.co.uk/action line for details of organisations which offer advice and support. And you can hear more discussions on this story on Politics North on Sunday. You are watching Friday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme. The teenager with cancer who's impressed the Princess of Wales with her photography skills. But before that, an animal charity trustee who stole nearly £250,000 from his employer has been jailed for 3 years. Kevin Proctor from Worsborough admitted the fraud, which almost led to the charity having to close shops in order to survive. Ollie Constable has more.
Kevin Proctor took the money little by little. In total, he defrauded the charity out of more than £230,000. Barnsley Animal Rescue Charity needed that money to help look after the dogs and cats which were under their care. But Proctor saw a way he could profit. While working as the treasurer, he generated fake invoices. One was for vet care, which never happened. The money would be paid straight into his bank account that he'd then use to pay his rent. The issue was spotted by an accountant launching an internal investigation. It turns out Proctor had been doing this since 2016 and had put the future of the charity at risk. Proctor pleaded guilty to a charge of fraud, with the judge saying this was an animal charity doing good work, but he breached that trust in a grotesque fashion. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison and told he would have to pay some of the money back. Ollie Constable, BBC Look North in Sheffield.
People living in a small coastal community near Ravenscar say they fear being cut off this winter after a landslip caused the closure of the only road in and out of Brownside. North Yorkshire Council has set up a temporary diversion route via a former railway line, which is now a hiking track. However, locals say that the track is unsuitable and potentially unsafe during the colder and darker months. Phil Bodmer has more.
Well, it's a conversation with Scorby School then, isn't it?
With a backdrop like this, it's easy to see why Monica and David Bowes love their home on the Yorkshire coast. The couple, who have 2 young children, run a successful holiday cottage business overlooking Robin Hood's Bay. Now, following a landslip, there are fears this rural community could be cut off.
The road is closed, so we've got no access on a traditional road to school, to shops, to GP surgery, the normal everyday things that people would probably take for granted. The alternative we've been given is a disused railway line, which we don't think is safe, particularly not safe in the winter. You're 600 feet up here, and once the weather turns, that isn't an alternative. So we'd like the road fixed.
Margaret and Leslie Atkinson have lived here for more than 40 years, but they say the road closure is having a major impact on their lives.
My big concern is my husband had a heart attack in January, and it was a 999 ambulance job to James Cook in Middlesbrough. And I don't know whether an ambulance now would find us and come along the railway track and the time it would take. And I worry about other neighbours. We've got a lady 92, another one 87. So that health is a big thing for me, and just getting out to do the shopping every day.
Well, there is a lengthy diversion in place. It's along the former Whitby to Scarborough railway line, which is now a cinder track. But local residents say they're concerned that with winter coming on, weather conditions will worsen, and this cinder track, which is really narrow in places, will effectively become impassable as well. North Yorkshire Council says they've closed the road to ensure public safety and appreciate the inconvenience it's having. They will be carrying out localised repairs to the cinder track to ensure local access is maintained. They say there's regular contact with local residents, and they will provide updates when they can.
As you can see, there's a significant cracks in the road, and half of it actually is pretty much gone away. We need to be fixed before winter sets. If in that case, if it's not going to happen, my children will not get to school, we will not get groceries, and we will looking at community being totally cut off.
For now, for those living here, that's a very real fear, as repairs to the road remain on the distant horizon. Phil Bodmer, BBC Look North, Ravenscar.
Certainly a beautiful part of the world there, isn't it? Let's have some sport now with Oggy. He's looking very dapper. You do brush up well, young man, if you don't mind me saying. Busy weekend ahead.
It is, and I've got my own personal treat tomorrow, Amy. We all have our favourite fixtures, but I make no apology, really, for having my own favourite Yorkshire derby in football tomorrow lunchtime. Huddersfield Town against Barnsley. Barnsley are in better shape at the moment, 7th in League One. Huddersfield Town made a good start to the season, but on Tuesday they lost for the 4th time on the run, and they need to improve.
We're working as hard as we can. It's not a case of it's not gone right, so we're relaxed, and we are all switched on, and we're all looking to improve and get things how we want them. And the main thing's the results that we need to get right.
They're the games you want to play in, local derbies. Regardless of form, that goes out the window in these games. I know they've been struggling a little bit. We've had a couple of tough games, but it's just these games who wants it most. The fans will turn out in their numbers. There'll be a great atmosphere. It's whoever handles it best on the day, really.
Barnsley's visit to Huddersfield kicks off at 12:30 tomorrow. And Super League's grand final weekend is almost upon us. Yes, in Women's Super League, of course. Defending champions York Valkyrie hoping to make history by becoming the first team in the modern women's game to win it for a 2nd year on the run.
Let's go. Defending Women's Super League champions, but strangely it seems Valkyrie are not most people's favourites to retain their crown on Sunday. Not that it showed during training this week at York St John's, where enthusiasm levels were as high as the tackles were hard and low, despite the injury-hit season Valkyrie have suffered.
We've got a lot of girls with operations penciled in the next month or so, but the players that are out there will, they'll be well drilled, they'll know exactly, what they're doing in the position that I've asked them to play. It's probably not going to be pretty rugby from us, but it will have a lot of determination to willingness to work for each other. So grand finals are different from any other game, and sometimes it's just about that, isn't it?
York's opponents, St Helens, were this season's Challenge Cup winners at Wembley against Leeds and finished the regular season in top spot, defeated just once by York Valkyrie. York's key personalities include hooker or fullback Georgie Hetherington. She has plenty more than just Sunday's grand final to occupy her thoughts, having been nominated for this year's Women of Steel Awards to be presented next week.
What a lot of people don't realise is we do juggle so much, and I'm a mum as well, so to get that kind of recognition, when I'm trying to sometimes sort childcare and, just be at every session and be present, it really did mean a lot.
BBC Radio York will be bringing us full match commentary of the women's grand final on Sunday. Coverage starts at 4 o'clock. Good luck to the girls from York. Just before we leave sporting activities for the weekend, let me tell you that this week marks 20 years since the first ever park run. It started modestly with just 13 people running in a free 5k event somewhere in London. Now it takes place at 2,500 locations worldwide. And if you're taking part in a park run in our region tomorrow, we'd really love to see your pictures and videos. You can scan the QR code on screen now and then send them to us via WhatsApp, or you can email us. I think you know the address by now, but just to remind you, it's look.north@bbc.co.uk, and we'll show as many as possible on Look North on Monday evening. I bet you're doing a park run this weekend, aren't you?
I think I've managed one in 20 years. How about you? Are you a park runner?
No, I can do the 80 miles on my bike, but running hurts me joints. It's an age thing, Amy, I'm
Do
sure.
you think so?
Yeah.
I'll let you know when I get there. It's very early on a weekend, though, isn't it? To be up and out and
Yeah,
they're ready
that's
on the
the other
start
thing.
line for 9 a.m. Yes, I have other things to do. But do send in your pictures, because it is a great thing to do. We look forward to seeing all those photos on Monday. Next tonight, we're keeping on the sports theme, but this time a grieving daughter has set out to complete a challenge her dad started, but sadly died attempting. Eric Oakley from Hempwenswaite near Harrogate had just cycled into Yorkshire when he collapsed on the Land's End to John O'Groats bike ride. He died from an undiagnosed heart condition. Today, his daughter Jessica set out from the place he fell to complete the ride Eric had dreamed of. Olivia Richwald reports.
He was incredible. They were once met, never forgotten. There was nobody like him. He had such a big heart, and he was always going out of his way to help other people, and this is just one tiny example of that.
Eric Oakley died attempting to cycle from Land's End to John O'Groats in aid of cancer research. He had just entered his home county of North Yorkshire in Settle when he died from an undiagnosed heart condition. He was 64. After his death 3 weeks ago, his daughter Jessica vowed to complete his challenge.
If we were going to ever lose him early, this was the most fitting way. He's sadly lost his life trying to do something good to help other people, and that just epitomises my dad. So if we can do something to honour that, which this feels like a really fitting tribute.
Jessica last saw her dad at her wedding. He died just a few weeks later. Her new husband, Innes, will complete the challenge with her. Eric's best friend, Gary, who he'd known since childhood, will also accompany the pair on part of the ride.
The reason why I was doing the ride was for cancer research, and that was really important to him, as it's really important to many, many people. So if we can get that fund up, that's really what he would be really caring about right now. I loved him, and so many other people did. I'm proud to be still Eric's best friend.
Our family have received such an overwhelming level of support, whether that's just love and care from the local community. Hempwenswaite is an amazing village, but also everybody's generosity with the fundraising so far. Dad set out to raise £2,000, which was pretty humble in my opinion for what he was taking on, and the fund is now, creeping towards £14,000, which he would, he was getting softer and softer in his older age, and he would definitely be crying. He would absolutely be in tears by everybody's generosity and the kindness that people have shown for a cause that meant so much to him. So I'd just like to reiterate that on his behalf. Just thank you to everybody for helping us keep Dad's legacy going, and if anybody's able to put a few more quid in the jar, you know, we're hoping to get the fundraiser as high as we possibly can.
Jessica and Ines are both in the army and will be completing the challenge over the next 3 weekends. They plan to scatter some of Eric's ashes at John O'Groats, ensuring he makes it to the end of his final ride. Olivia Richwald, BBC Look North, near Harrogate.
Gosh, that's certainly going to be an emotional cycle, isn't it? Jessica, you are doing your dad absolutely proud. Next tonight, a North Yorkshire teenager who was diagnosed with incurable cancer at the start of the year has been taking photos for royalty. Liz Hatton wrote a bucket list and she's hoping to cram in as many photography opportunities as possible in the time that she has left. Beth Parsons has her story.
Take photos at London Fashion Week. Mission complete. Just one of many things on Liz Hatton's bucket list. In January this year, the 17-year-old budding photographer from Harrogate was diagnosed with a rare type of cancer and was told she had between 6 months and 3 years to live. Since then, she's been ticking things off a photography bucket list. She never imagined it would involve royalty, but one day received an invite from the palace.
They sent an email and said, can Liz come and do this? And unfortunately at the time, I was having chemo, so the timings just didn't work out. So I was really upset because I was like, I want to take photos at the palace. But luckily they were so nice and they promised to stay in touch, and they did.
Liz took photos at a royal award ceremony, received thanks from the Prince and Princess of Wales, and even got to meet them in person.
In they walked, the Prince and Princess, and we spoke to them for a good half hour or so, and it was just amazing because they were so kind, and it's just like talking to a normal person, you know.
Her mum Vicky says she's grateful for all the experiences Liz can get in the time she has left.
Just people seeing her photos and seeing how talented she is, which, you know, she would have had a lifetime to show to people, and we can't give her that lifetime, but what this has done and the opportunities before is give us that opportunity to make the absolute most of the time she does have and give her so many wonderful experiences that we could never have dreamt of.
Liz's family have said photography gives her focus, and she awaits the next exciting opportunity to come through. Beth Parsons, BBC Look North.
And we will, of course, keep in touch with Liz and tell you what happens next for her. These look good, don't they? Is it Fishy Friday in your house tonight? Well, you'll be pleased to know that two of the best chippy cooks in the country are, of course, from our part of the world. Abigail and Scott from York have reached the National Young Fish Fryers Final. Yes, it's a thing. And both are working on their A-game to get to the finishing line. See what we did there? Arzu Dutta went to meet them.
For many of us, it's Fish Friday today, but for this duo, every day is about getting the perfect crispy dinner. Just over a year ago, Scott started as a pot wash here, but quickly caught the frying bug.
Definitely pushing my confidence. I wanted to meet new, young fryers around the country and stuff like that. On to the next round, which we're very excited for and we are prepping for.
Abigail is the other finalist trying to reel in the Young Fish Fryers Award.
It's nice learning from everybody from the past generations, learning all the tricks and the trades of it all, which is really nice to see, and all the memories they all have. And then it's nice being able to bring new ideas in as well.
To get to the top 12 in the UK is just fantastic, and I'm so proud of them, I really am. It just takes a lot of dedication, a lot of knowledge, and obviously being a great fryer.
Since they're so good, we put Abigail, Scott and owner David to the test.
This is going to be really hard. They all look really good. So I think my favourite is probably the middle one.
Yeah, has to be David's.
But the real taste testers are the customers.
Good luck to them. They certainly deserve it. They do ever so well.
Scott in particular has been very caring and is always spot on the ball. When we come in, he's making the pot of tea ready for us.
The people
The staff are lovely because they've had a lot to put up with from me.
Being the country's best young fish fryer is no small feat. The countdown is on and every cod matters.
Where have all the chips gone?
Ozzy Dutter, BBC Lucknow, York.
Oh, I really want some fish and chips for tea now. With mushy peas, though. There were no mushy peas in sight there.
Ozzy got the best job of the day, didn't she?
She definitely
Well,
did.
we're all here hungry.
I mean, she didn't bring any back for us either.
We don't want cold fish and chips, Amy.
Well, I don't know. I'll take anything.
Well, the nice weather does look set to continue for now. It has been a nice day. It started off on a very misty, foggy note. You can see here near Rotherham, but that mist and fog lifted quite nicely, and by this afternoon we were all enjoying some pleasant weather with some spells of sunshine. You can see in my next picture across North Yorkshire we had not wall-to-wall sunshine. There was quite a bit of high and medium level cloud, but it turned out to be a nice day, and similar conditions, perhaps a little bit less cloud into tomorrow. You can keep your weather pictures coming in to the Weather Watchers page, or we're on social media as well, Keely.Donovan on Instagram. So yes, the fine weather continues for at least some of the weekend. Tomorrow it looks dry and fine. We've got some pleasant spells of sunshine, actually feeling quite pleasant in the sunshine once again. But on Sunday there will be a lot more cloud around. It won't be raining all day long, but there will be some rain around, particularly Sunday night into Monday. That rain could turn heavier. And then early next week, the general theme is unsettled, but there should also be some sunshine as well as those showers for Monday and Tuesday. So yeah, we did have some cloud around today, but as I say, most of it was high and medium level cloud. In the last few hours, we've got a bit thicker cloud across the Dales, for example, and it's here as we move through the evening that we could just get the odd spot or two of light rain or drizzle, but generally it does look like a dry night. Some areas of cloud, but gradually towards morning, I think that cloud will lift away, and so we're looking at some good clear spells later in the night. A little bit of mistiness perhaps, and temperatures down to around 7 or 8 degrees. A quick look at those high water times, 6:10 in Scarborough, 6:20 in Filey. So we start the day on a pleasant note with a good deal of sunshine. We'll see some fair weather cloud developing as we move through the course of the day, but it does look largely dry and fine with good sunny spells into the afternoon. A moderate breeze coming up from the south, and temperatures a little bit higher than today, reaching around 16 degrees, which is 61 Fahrenheit, and it does look pleasant tomorrow evening as well. And then into Sunday, a lot more cloud around. There will be some patchy rain and drizzle on and off through the day. And then through Sunday evening, that rain becoming heavier and more persistent from the west. Monday, Tuesday, a few showers around, but also some spells of sunshine, potentially very stormy midweek.
You can tell who listens to the forecast, can't you?
You'll appreciate that polar neck when you leave tonight, Miss Garcia.
Do you think so?
Yes.
I'll take your word for it. I'm baking hot at the moment. That is it from us. Amanda's here with your late news. Have a wonderful weekend, won't you? Bye-bye.
Hot flush.